I have a question from Lily, and the question goes like this. Hi, Mitch. Can enlightenment stand in the way of normal functioning in physical reality? For instance, working, making money, etc. I've heard some people lose interest in pursuing anything in life since it is perceived as temporary and unimportant. Eckhart Tolle, after enlightenment, was sitting on a bench for almost 2 years with no source of income, doing nothing, just observing. Can enlightenment disconnect you from the physical world? Can it be ungrounding? Great question, Lily. In my experience, enlightenment did not stand in the way of daily living functioning. It enhanced daily living functioning. There's this grace. Day-to-day functioning is graceful. There's an increased capacity to simply meet whatever unfolds in this present moment head on. And it's this capacity, this capability of simply just acting in whatever way that is needed in this moment. There's this flow, this living in this flow state, effortless effort. So what you're calling this daily living or the functioning in the physical reality, yeah, I would say that enlightenment does not stand in the way of that. It's enhanced that. Everything is simply done with ease. There's no stress, there's no worry, there's no anxiety, there's no fear. There's no dwelling on yesterday. There's no regret. There's no blame. Simply put, who you think you are is no longer in the way. So the day-to-day function of life, whether that be working, making money, looking after a family, right? I'm using myself as the example. I'm a husband. I've got 3 kids, 3 young kids, ages 7, 5, and 3. So enlightenment didn't all of a sudden make me dysfunctional, right? My capacity to be a husband, to be a father, to be a business owner was actually enhanced. Because who you think you are is no longer in the way. You're living a very selfless life. See, all of our problems are about the me. See that all of your problems in life are always about you. And when that me, that separate me, is seen to be an illusion, then it's like all those problems just disappear. You're no longer in the way. There's no resistance to life. There's no running from life. There's just life. So after enlightenment, life continues as it was prior, but it's experienced completely different, from a different perspective. You naturally want to serve. You're naturally all-inclusive. And this is where that enhance capacity is coming from, that you see that your true nature is selfless. You see that your true nature is all-inclusive. Your true nature simply accepts, allows. It's wide open. So you're open to whatever unfolds in this present moment. You allow life to simply unfold. You accept whatever's happening in life. Everything that you experience is experienced as yourself. You are all inclusive. You're experiencing this unconditional love for everything. Because you're experiencing everyone as yourself, you can't help but love them. And love just simply wants to love. You can't help but want to serve them. And naturally, with this service to others, things simply come to you when they're needed in order to help you serve in a greater capacity, more effectively, more efficiently. The day-to-day functioning in life could be seen as more efficient, more effective. So from an outside looking in, yeah, it might look like this person's values have changed. It might look like they've become a new person because this inner transformation has occurred. That some of the things that they were doing prior to enlightenment just don't resonate anymore. And in my experience, that's exactly what happened. I was in entrepreneurship for 10 years and building businesses, and basically in the middle of my last business dropping, falling away very fast at the start of COVID. Well, then it was that kind of dropped, and it was like, oh, well, let's start creating a new one. And as I was starting to create the new one, then this whole spiritual awakening happened. And self-realization is almost like the summit of Mount Everest. It's like your entire life you've been struggling to climb up this massive mountain. And self-realization is like the summit. And when you are climbing a mountain and you finally reach the top, what do? You sit down, you relax, you enjoy the view. Maybe this is what happened with your example of Eckhart Tolle sitting on a bench for 2 years, just watching. Prior to enlightenment, life has been this constant striving, constant effort, constant struggle, constant suffering. So when enlightenment happens, yeah, maybe there's just this sitting down and catching your breath, just relaxing, just enjoying life without the struggle, without the need to take the next step, without the suffering, that you can just simply be and just enjoy the view. So maybe that's what happened, sitting on the bench for 2 years. Now, I want to say that every enlightenment story that you hear about, they're always different because the journey is unique. And it's not going to help if you hear other people's stories and then start imagining that's exactly what's going to happen to you, because it's not. It's not. I didn't sit on a park bench for 2 years. There was that feeling. There was that phase in the journey of reaching the top and enjoying it, taking it in. And it's so hard to describe. Your life completely changes, especially for myself, because I didn't have any teacher or guide or guru or master. It just happened. I didn't know what spirituality was. I didn't know what enlightenment was. I didn't know what self-realization was. So yeah, there's this shock. And the top is so beautiful. There was this period of time, I don't know how long it was. It wasn't months or weeks. It was like a day or two of just being totally blissed out, where it was obvious that I was not able to function. But that was just like a day or two. And then that starts kind of coming down, start getting used to it. And it almost feels like you're kind of settling in. There's this feeling of, this is exactly what you've been seeking your entire life. You've reached the top. And the view is so beautiful. So there's just naturally just relaxing and just taking it all in. And taking it all in is necessary to start settling into this enlightenment, you could say, to start the integration process. Because I didn't sit on a bench for 2 years, but it did take 2 years for me to even start talking about what had happened. It's like you are so shocked, and then you can't even really express what has happened. There's no words. Even still to this day, all the words that I use they don't really describe it. They don't do it justice. The words are just simply pointers, pointing to something that you can only experience. So it didn't make me dysfunctional. Life continued. There's this, climax or pinnacle or summit. Then there's kind of enjoying, settling in, getting kind of used to it. And there's about maybe 2 months where, I didn't really feel like doing anything. Because there's the realization that you found everything that you've been looking for your entire life. And it's you. That you are everything that you have ever wanted. And it's coming to that realization. So it's not really that you see the world as, what do we say here in your temporary or unimportant. It's not really that. It's that you're so content, this profound peace, this supreme happiness, this bliss, this ultimate freedom, this unconditional love that you have realized is you. So everything that you've ever wanted seems to be attained, but it's not really attained by anyone. It's what you are. So it's not really that you're seeing everything as unimportant and temporary. It's more that this seeking energy has come to an end. You're no longer seeking. There's kind of this feeling of the energy going, It's not pulling you to the next moment. But to anyone else, they're seeking for what you have discovered to be yourself. So in my experience, it was like kind of 2-month period of not really having the same drive that I did before in entrepreneurship. I wasn't in a hurry to finish starting, to go at that other business that I was in the midst of creating. It was like slowly getting to it. There's this feeling that you're almost kind of relearning how to live again. There's this kind of feeling like, okay, I got to go back into the world. How do we do this thing again? Right? So you could call it the peak of the mountain and enjoying the beautiful scenery. And maybe that looks like sitting on a bench and watching people walk their dog and, having picnics in the park and watching the clouds pass by and listening to the birds. Sure, that's beautiful. Why not? Why not? To someone else, it might look like this one is disconnected or ungrounded. Maybe. But really, if you're disconnected, if you're ungrounded, if you're truly disconnected, if you're truly ungrounded, it's because the realization hasn't been complete. And this is quite common, actually. This happens when one doesn't have a teacher or a guide or a master, someone who's walked this path, traveled this journey before, that can share these insights and hold your hand. So there are some that are exactly what you're saying, ungrounded and disconnected. But the full integration of enlightenment, you could say the integration part happens after enlightenment. That there's enlightenment, that's the end of seeking, which is the end of suffering. And then there's lifelong integration. And this is what I see the difference between those who are saying that they're enlightened, sharing stories, is there's really a spectrum, you can say, of the realization. How deep is this realization? Is it actually full enlightenment, or are they only reaching the halfway mark? Is it incomplete? There is a lot of teachers that are sharing an incomplete enlightenment. There's still more to go. Which can give this perception of being disconnected to the world, being ungrounded. See this a lot for people that kind of deny life. Oh, it's all temporary. It's all unimportant. It's all a dream. Deny the body, deny the play of life. This is like sitting on the sidelines of life. It's like life is this game. And after enlightenment, it's like you play it 100%. You don't sit on the sidelines. In my experience, enlightenment is the ultimate connection. Really, it's beyond connection, because connection is always about two. There's me being connected with something else, something that we call life. In my experience, there's no me in life. I don't have a life. I am life. What could be more connected than that? So after enlightenment, things kind of slowly pick up, I guess you could say. In my experience, they slowly picked up. I didn't all of a sudden become some dysfunctional father. That was still continuing. Being a dad, doing the family stuff, still continued. Being able to continue building a business continued. All of that continued. Like I said at the start, it's like whatever's needed in the present moment naturally gets done. Naturally gets done. In such an effortless way. In such a graceful way. In such a stress-free way. But the perspective of being a husband, being a father, being a business owner, being active in the community, that's completely changed. That's completely changed. So everything continues, and they can just kind of continue right where you picked off, where you left off. You pick up right where you left off. Or there could be things that just simply don't resonate anymore with you because of this realization. It could be seen that a lot of the things that you were doing just no longer make sense. There's just not an interest there. Because like I said, is everything that you're doing is trying to get happiness, love, peace, freedom, trying to become whole, complete, fulfilled. Trying to come to a rest. And when that actually happens, when you realize that you are all of that you are what you seek, then it's kind of like some of those things that you are doing to try and get happiness, that you are doing to try and get love, that you are doing to try and get peace, that you are doing to try and get freedom. Well, those can simply just drop off, of course. Because it's like you have it. But it's not that you have it, it's that you are it. So it might feel like, in my experience, like there was kind of like almost like a change of heart. Like some of the stuff just didn't resonate anymore. A very strong disinterest in some of the stuff that I was doing before. Like I said, I was kind of in between businesses. I had this one, COVID basically just wiped this thing out very fast. And I just dropped it, just let it go. And then I started creating something new. And basically, while that was being created, then there's this spiritual awakening that happened. And then after, I kind of said, well, what now? Should I continue completing this and put it out there? Maybe this needs to get out there because this happened during that time. But something felt off that no longer interested me. I intuitively knew that that's not supposed to really come out. I did put it out because it was just putting some final touches on it and putting it out there. But I always knew like that's not what wants to be expressed. It's this realization that wants to be expressed. It's sharing this message, sharing this truth. That's what wants to come out. So you're seeing it. It's about 3 years after what one would call enlightenment. And you're seeing it. That I dropped the business stuff. And I said, well, let me go full in on this. Because the way I see it is this is the greatest gift that you can give to yourself and the whole of humanity. I don't want to just keep this secret. I want to share it with you. I want to help you realize that you are everything that you have ever wanted. I want to help you realize that we are all one. And this is why I create these videos and share them. And you can be the judge. I'd say I'm pretty functional at creating videos, editing them, uploading them, responding to questions, all while being a husband and a father of 3 and living what appears to be just a very normal life. This doesn't look super special. I'm just like you. I'm not special. I'm extraordinary. More ordinary than just about anyone you meet. So no, I don't see enlightenment getting in the way of normal life. And as far as being ungrounded or being disconnected, I don't see that being an issue either. Because I'm here for you as a guide, someone to show you the way, someone to hold your hand so you don't feel alone, so you don't get lost or stuck. Everything a guide should do. Because enlightenment is all about jumping into the unknown. And when you're going to go into the unknown, at least you have someone there waiting for you. At least you have someone who can guide you into the unknown. To make sure that feeling disconnected or ungrounded won't be an issue. To make sure that that doesn't happen. Those are a result of getting stuck. And as your guide, I'll make sure that you don't get stuck. So I wouldn't worry about that. But Lily, these are great questions that you're asking. If you want to ask any more questions, I'm happy to make these videos. And if you're ready to step into the unknown, I'm here to guide you. See you in the next one.